Do you think Google is losing their mind about the movement into ChatGPT being the search choice for people to find local business solutions?
So your question is, are they concerned about this shift into LLMs
Yeah.
and more personalized
Yeah. And I guess they
platforms
got
as
to be
opposed
doing
to
something about it to
yeah,
put themselves back in the forefront. Otherwise, they will become like the yellow pages.
sure,
Google will be a thing of the past.
sure.
And they've got to see that.
And I kind of, you and I talked about this before, and I said I was going to joke about this. I don't work there anymore, right? I have some friends that work there, but I don't really have any inside scoop. But what we know from shifts that are occurring in the industry and developments that Google are making is absolutely they're feeling it. I'm sure they're talking about it when they go over quarterly press or earnings calls and such. What we're seeing though is, and I'm sure you've performed searches on Google still. Earlier you had made a comment and I kind of corrected it, if you will. Not most searches are on ChatGPT. There definitely is a shift happening. A lot of searches are still being completed on Google. This could be changing by the month, but around 80% of consumers use Google and an LLM of their choice. Whether that's ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity,
Gemini, Grok.
right?
Yeah.
So Gemini, and thank you for bringing that up. I was going to bring that up. So Gemini is the AI overviews, which is their answer, Google's answer to the LLMs. And if you're logged into your Google account, normally a Gmail, then there are a whole bunch of data points, by the way, just like those end user agreements we all skipped through, right? They are looking at your searches and your behaviors. They have for 20 something years. And so that's where they're personalizing those results. So if you're looking for something and you see at the top, the AI overviews answers your question, we're seeing something called zero click, right? And that means, like, typically back in the day, you're an air conditioning repair company. Someone does AC repair near me. They might click on the paid ads. And this is still happening. There's still this phenomenon, or whatever you want to call it. This journey is still taking place. They're still clicking on paid ads. They're still clicking on local services ads. They're still scrolling down and looking at what's local to them in that map section. They're still clicking on organic. But what we are seeing is if they do a search for something and the AI overviews does populate, this zero click concept is that they're finding what they need. They're not scrolling down. They're getting everything they need from the overviews.
I almost read that now. It's like, okay, let's see what the
62%
first.
less click-through rate when that occurs. That's massive. Think about critical mass for like when the TV was invented or something. It took like many, many years for it to get to critical mass. And I did a paper on this when I was in school, by the way, many years ago. And each successive technology has taken less and less time to hit critical mass because of the fact that we have so much technology and it's accessible at our fingertips, right? But this AI revolution has been insane. I mean, it went from 0 to, I don't even know if they measured it when it was at 10, 20, 30, but what the fact that AI overviews are showing up is precipitating the click-through rates on the organic and the rest of the anatomy of Google by 60%. That's insane.
Yeah,
right?
Within like the year.
So if you don't show up and someone else does, right? What does that mean for your business?
Terrible. Yeah, I mean, you're screwed.
So really the question you asked earlier is Google freaking out? What's the small business owner doing? Right? I'm not saying Apple and Samsung and big companies don't feel that too, but to answer your question properly, yeah, they came out with this. They developed the AI overviews because they knew that there was a shift, and is still a shift occurring, where people are getting more accustomed to these personalized large language models. I know nobody really understands what an LLM is, right? But that's what Claude, ChatGPT, and Perplexity are, right? And what's AI really good at, right? This is what we're all learning. Is it good at making you money?
No.
Is it good at saving you time?
Yes.
Is it good at increasing efficiency?
Yes.
Is it good at gathering data quickly?
Yes.
Right. So there's things that it's really good at. It's good at reach.
Man, it scans the internet so much faster than I can, and it reads and
100%.
puts together the data faster than I can.
100%. But do you still have to steer it?
You do have to steer it.
I mean, obviously, I think you play with AI more than I do from our conversations. You need to prompt it.
Well, I'm not going to be like my grandmother who couldn't send an email, right?
Right. But the prompt can be a single sentence, question, whatever, or it could be 30, successive questions. How far do you want to drill? How much information are you going to provide the LLM so that it can answer you best, optimally, whatever you want to call it. So yes, I think Google, they're not stupid. They got some really bright minds over there. Although in Silicon Valley right now, people are coming and going with these technology companies left and right. And I would be surprised if they weren't looking to work in AI, right? Is there a highly skilled engineer at Google that OpenAI is courting, and Claude and Grok and Perplex? Yeah, there's probably not a lot of loyalty right now. I think people are going where they can, hopefully they're still they're passionate about what they do, but I think that, people want to make the dollars. But but the advancements in AI are, I mean, by the day, right? And you can doom and gloom it. You can be concerned about, like my profession, people that are small business owners and what have you. And so what we're trying to do at Agile Media, not that I'm trying to make this advertorial, but like what we're trying to figure out, I mean, we certainly don't want to act like we don't know what we're doing, but like I'd be lying if I said we've got everything figured out when it's changing as dynamically.
Well, anyone that says that's probably lying.
It sounds
like nobody
canned
knows what the
to
future
say
is.
we got this, right?
Yeah.
But what we're learning is, yes, people use Google, as I referenced earlier, and they're using an LLM, right? And so I've actually had this conversation a lot lately, and it sounds like I'm being a smart guy, but it really is the reality. Like, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and we've been having conversations with our customers over the years where they felt frustration with Google, or, hey, I'm spending $5,000 a month on Google ads. It's like this necessary evil, and they like have like animosity towards Google, but it works. If they pause their campaign, if there's a problem with the billing, oh, I felt that. Okay, it works, right? But what they've consistently said over the last like 20 years is, I wish I wasn't so reliant on them. I think you're going to probably understand where I'm going with this. I wish there was a healthier, more expansive, whatever you want to call it, search ecosystem. Like, I wish people used Bing, right? Nobody really does. Maybe your computer came with it, but as a default search engine, you don't know how to change it, right?
Yeah.
But if it wasn't like 90%, like maybe I'll rewind 4 years before the AI disruption, 92% of people used Google for a local product or service. That means the other 8-9% was Bing and DuckDuckGo, and some of these things like went up to like 1-2-3%, and then they kind of stagnated, right? But constantly, without going off on a tangent, we've been saying, I wish that there was more choice and I wasn't so betrothed to Google. And what I keep telling everybody now is, you asked for it, now you have it. And so what does that mean? That means, let's say you're a consumer, and I'll go back to the air conditioning guy, right? AC repair near me, and they see the paid ad, and they see maybe AI overviews, and they're looking, did they get the answer they were looking for? Probably. But if they didn't, maybe they open up Perplexity, they open up ChatGPT, they do it again, right? What if there's different air conditioning contractors in Claude, and different ones in Perplexity, and different ones in ChatGPT? But what if there's one company that shows up in all those places, right? Do you think they're going to have a higher propensity to convert that customer?
Oh, if one showed up in all three, that's the company you got to go for.
So now you have to show up everywhere. And that's why I keep telling people, you asked for this. You only have to show up at Google before.
Do you think people are
Now you got to show up
copying those URLs of those websites, putting it in, and having AI compare those two companies?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we use software like that, and it's a start. It's a tool, right?
Yeah.
There's, not to get too granular today, but like SEO, right? For the last 15 years, people are saying SEO is dead because of the advent of paid ads. It's not dead, right? The foundation of search engine optimization is still the right foundation for AEO, which is answer engine optimization. That's the, AI overviews. Then you have generative engine optimization, or GEO. So you've got all these alphabet soup acronyms, AEO, GEO, SEO. And there's a lot of misconception that people are saying, I don't need regular SEO. I just need to do, I just want to focus on AEO and GEO. Well, they run in parallel, and then they diverge at some point. I mean, again, I don't know how granular you want me to get today, but like,
would one be from another, I guess, as they grow and then they diverge?
Yeah.
Right? So that the base, they're kind of the same.
To answer, again, without like doing a full-blown one-to-one with somebody on this, because you can talk about it for days, like regular SEO, well, let's use Google, because I know we joke that nobody uses Bing.
Yeah.
They have an algorithm that they have, for 30 years, named after the owner, which is called PageRank. It's named after Larry Page.
Oh, funny. Right.
And then about 8, 9 years ago, they came out with something called RankBrain, which was machine learning, which is early AI, right? And it used to be that they would interpret the search results, as engineers, and then they would program the machine learning, right? Well, RankBrain was, I think it actually technically was AI, but initially it was machine learning, right? Similar. And RankBrain is literally evaluating all of the search results, and then the human team evaluates it. So that was a fundamental shift in, it's not people, and then they're steering the AI. It's 24/7. AI is monitoring, and then they evaluate it and go, do we need to make some tweaks to our algorithm? Do we like the way the results are showing up? Do we see, a weird result come up on page 1 consistently? That's really what Google's trying to do. At the end of the day, they want consumers to have a good experience with Google, so they keep using Google, right?
Right.
Because they know that that's how they're going to make that paid ad money. You and I talked about that before. That's how they make money. Paid ads. Before they did paid ads, they didn't have a monetization system, right? Every single platform has learned from that. Meta, right? Instagram, Reddit has ads now. Everything they realize, if we have an audience and we have eyeballs here, there's
You're running ads.
likelihood that an SMB or even a large company like Samsung is going to want to put their ads
Or you're just running a
It
subscription.
just makes sense. Yeah. So hope that answers your question a little bit about Google. I think the real question, and where my heart is and why I started Agile Media, is what happens to the SMB, right? Circling back to what I was just saying about like
SMBs.
small, medium-sized business owner.
All right, that's what I was going to get into now too. Yeah, it's like, what are they going to do? Like,
So
how do you
get everywhere?
against?
How do you be everywhere is the thing.
Yeah.
Is it more work?
Let's start
Right.
let's say a business has been around for 5, 10 years and they really haven't done anything. What are like the first steps that they should be doing, right? They got to probably redo their website. And like, how important is that?
Yeah.
And what are the steps that they need to do to really get?
I'm going to be conceptual here because, like I said, I'm not trying to advertise for Agile Media, but
Do
if
it,
they
please.
were-
Yeah.
Well, if they were to be referred to us, first thing we're going to do is perform a comprehensive audit. The cornerstone of your digital presence is still your website. It's not the only part, but let's be honest, it's the cornerstone, right? All roads lead to Rome. You want them to get there, right? But with the advent of social media, which would include maybe your Google business profile, your Instagram, your Twitter, depending on what line of work you're in. Right?
Yeah, I was going to inject. I was going to let you go, but I was going to say,
if you're a journalist and you want people to check out your Twitter, if you're a small, HVAC company, you probably still want to get people to your Google business profile or your website or your Yelp, right?
Wherever the phone number is.
What's going to convert?
Right?
Where are they going to convert, right? So we would do an evaluation and show them what their current baselines are. Is their website deficient in meeting current standards? What does that mean, right? Was this built 6 years ago and there's not good content on the website? It hasn't been updated for years. There's all this minutia we can go into in terms of how on-page SEO works, the site titles, the meta descriptions, the header tags, all that stuff. To compete effectively, it's almost a given that needs to be implemented properly. How fast does your site load? Is it easy to navigate? Is your contact form all the way down at the bottom, or is it prominent? Can they get to your phone number? On a mobile device, is there some type of sticky, I can click the phone number? We've seen that increase conversions 20 to 30%, right? So without going into too much detail on the website, we would want to make sure that the website, which is central to your web presence, is dialed.
It's like you don't want them hanging out too long where they get distracted and move off, but you don't want them leaving too soon either.
I'm assuming that someone wants to grow their brand when you said they were referred to us, right? So if you're going to invest with paid ads or SEO or what have you, your website needs to be dialed. It needs to be unequivocal what you do and where you do it and who your ideal client profile is, where you're located, how do they get a hold of you, do you solve their problem, right? And then once we've provided that intelligence back to our customer, we are also going to look at where they're ranking organically. It used to stop there. Now we're going to show them where they're ranking in LLMs. We have some great tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs, and they're expensive and they keep getting more expensive, right? Especially since they keep getting bought up by PE firms like Adobe. Adobe just bought SEMrush. I don't know if you know that.
Oh.
And so
I think there's the Adobe Rush app.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to say, hey, you're visible. Here how you're cited. Here's how many times you're cited and for what keywords in ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity. And we're gonna show them the whole holistic picture of here's where your health score is online, right? Your website, like the balance wheel exercise we always show. You might have a great website that was only built a year ago, but like nobody did your on-page SEO right. You're not building authority with backlinks. You don't have any press releases. And you're wondering why the upstart HVAC company that's a year old has passed you. Because that can happen in the current digital age. They could be in ChatGPT because they did FAQs and they had made it very easy for search engine. Sorry, I was finished real quick.
Yeah.
Them to parse your website and go, I know what you do. I know who you serve. I know where you're located. And you can literally usurp a company that might be, like you said, around for 5 years.
But that means the business that's been around for 10 years can do the exact same thing
100%.
that new business did and usurp them as well. So there's no...
They should have an inherent advantage because they should have more authority and they should be more of an entity. These are things that Google cares about as well as these LLMs care about. But
so the system
they also
works.
have to execute on these things or they may find themselves looking in the other guy's taillights or gal or equal opportunity podcast.
Sure.
And without someone like our agency or another reputable agency to help them navigate through this, I know you can. There's so much information now. They can Google how do I do Google business posts? How do I do SEO? And there's a ton of tools. But just like we kind of referenced earlier, if you don't have anyone steering it and you don't have a strategy that's cohesive, AI can help create crap quickly.
No, I tried to run my own ads before, and it was a nightmare. It was a terrible experience.
It's easy to waste money.
It wasted tons of money quickly.
And then you get disheartened, and then you kind of throw your hands up and give up.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just getting junk mail that's costing me money. And it wasn't even like someone like really like a bad lead. It was just someone out there that was just doing it to waste me money. Because it was just someone hit the keyboard and sent me an email, would message through the site, and that would
I
cost
know
me
you
money.
and I and a lot of our people
who's
that are
doing that
are
out
going
there?
to listen to this are wondering who those people are. They've existed for years. There are quite a few software platforms out there like Clickstell, which is one of the ones we use. There's another one called ClickCease, and they are literally looking for irrelevant clicks and bad traffic and bot farms and click banks and looking at IP addresses and IP ranges and automatically blocking them so that they don't keep clicking on your... That stuff exists because people are out there doing it. I don't know if it's massively pervasive, but we have in our software, it'll show us an estimate of how much it saved the customer. Obviously, it's respective to how much they're spending, but we have some customers that are in the $10, $20, $30, $1,000 a month in Google ads or what have you, and it'll supposedly save $4,000 or $5,000. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but are these people getting paid to do that to people? Because it
probably
seems
not
like
going to go there on this conversation.
we'll talk about that
I don't
later.
want to talk in an uneducated format, nor do I want to proffer conspiracy theories. But yes, I believe there are people out there, regardless of the profession, that...
Why else would they sit there and
benefit
falsely...
from your...
Yeah, my loss, but they're just
pain.
like, oh, that's so funny that these people you're gonna waste your time.
Yeah,
doesn't make
just
any
like
sense.
I don't
They've
personally
gotta be.
fall for a lot of the email scams and stuff like that, but we're always saying that it must work.
Well, email
because
scams,
they keep
like they're
doing
getting direct money, you're paying them, but why would someone do it and not get compensated to waste their time? They have to be getting money.
There's definitely
the other way around.
There's
That's my
definitely
opinion.
the impetus behind those tactics is.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy. Their livelihood, and I know you and I do not want to make our livelihood performing those types of things, but you got to be wary as a business owner. Yeah,
yeah. But you do things that help prevent that from happening.
On the email marketing or the email side, it depends on your mail server and
they're
that
coming
sort
from
of thing.
Afghanistan and stuff, so it's like you can keep.
I think we just train people to be vigilant. Hopefully, their IT company, we're not obviously on the IT side, although we partner with IT companies, is hopefully they're advising them to be vigilant and letting them know about trends and scams and even subject lines.
But if you're doing like pay-per-click is what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're out there just clicking.
We do.
They're in Afghan, just clicking on your, charging you money.
Yep. My dad joked with me one time when I was young, 'cause I'm an old man now. A lock keeps an honest man honest. I don't know if you've ever heard that expression before. So we have these, Google has a click fraud protection in place. I'm not saying it's infallible.
Can I go back to Google and say, hey, I think I had a bunch of click fraud on my campaign?
I don't think they're going to hear you, Justin.
All right, that's what I thought.
And then you've got this additional level of protection with software like ClickTell, which we invest in because we want our customer to have the best results we possibly can. Is that foolproof? Of course not. There's some parameters on there, like you can make it really strict. So it's like, oh, after the first click, it won't let them click again. Some people think 2 is the sweet spot. We have had good results with that particular software. And again, I'm not trying to promote their software, but we do what we can to obviously mitigate. You can never eliminate.
So it's like I service the Phoenix area. I just run my ads in Phoenix. So only people in Phoenix should be finding me to then click.
Depending on how you set up your Google Ads.
Yeah.
There are settings in there where you can make sure it's people in and searching in.
Yeah,
area.
I think I had that selected.
You can even
and I was like, and I don't want, and I did the exclusions
and states outside of Arizona, and that is
they were still coming in, So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you ever wanted to get something like that up and going again, or if you give us access, we can take a look at the site. We can see what your settings were. It would be conjecture on my part to know what might have contributed to that. But
yeah.
I would say 90% of folks that DIY their paid ads, when we get referred to them and we go look, it's an S show. I'll stop.
I bet it would be.
Yeah. Targeting's not set up right. No conversion tracking. No campaign goal. You have to teach the software what is a good conversion. What's a good keyword?
So people wouldn't expect results within.
Did you create an audience, right?
Yeah. So you can't expect people to have results within a week. It's like a process.
No. I mean, we literally say, or advise that the first month, it really is a setup month. Now, obviously, if we have worked in a vertical and we have some institutional knowledge, let's say it's water damage, there are negative keywords that we already know are wasteful, or keyword search terms that are wasteful that we've added to a negative keyword list. Some of our negative keyword lists are maxed out, 5,000, like the word PDF, right? DIY, do it yourself. Lowe's, Home Depot, right? People look for things like how to get, water out of my carpet. What do I need to buy at Lowe's? Something like that, right? And it could cost our customer $50 if that, what we call broad matched to that consumer's search term. So we can mitigate, funny that it's water damage, right? Mitigate. We can mitigate as much as possible, especially if we have some institutional knowledge about that vertical. But if we've never ran that vertical before, what we're doing on our team is actually performing searches, looking at the autocomplete, doing a more expansive research, using SEMrush.
Before setting up
Absolutely.
their account,
Looking at a competitor website in SEMrush, because it'll actually show what paid ads they're running, and so show some of the negative keywords they're running. We have another tool called SpyFu. It's a lot of data gathering before we actually go live. And I'll be the first one to admit this. Sometimes they don't launch amazing, and sometimes folks on Agile Media mess up, and our goal is to not mess up again. But answering your question earlier, that first month, we're setting up the campaign, we're turning it on, we're gathering data, right? And I know that there's a little bit of a stigma in our business. Just give it more time, right? I understand a small business owner that's heard that 7 months in.
Especially when they're bleeding money for advertisement, not getting anything.
Exactly. So we're not in the business of trying to create duress here, but we are trying to create realistic expectations from the outset, especially if they're in a really competitive vertical and happens to be high cost per click. One good thing about, and I'm not picking on Google Ads or isolating Google Ads, the cost per click is usually commensurate with the transaction value. So, I mean, if it's a $50 or $100 click, maybe the average is an $8,000 and $10,000, job if they win it. There are some weird ones like,
I just thought of like, what if you're selling gum, right? 50 cents, but you're have to run ads to sell that gum, but it's costing you $10 per clip.
I'm only smiling because I'm thinking to myself, that's not a vertical I want to work. We personally at our company, we do a lot of work with healthcare, legal. I was going to say medical, but healthcare. So medical, legal, home services. We do not really do any e-com. That would be a tough one if you're selling a 50-cent
but whatever
pack of gum and the cost per click is, hopefully it's a nickel, right?
Hopefully.
That's what I'm saying. Usually it's commensurate, right? Car dealerships. I've never personally done any campaigns like that. Our team hasn't, but I know a few people that do. The cost per click is actually pretty cheap. It could be $1.50, it could be $5, maybe 10, but you might need like 200 clicks to actually get someone that's going to come down and buy an F-150. So if the cost per click was like $200, it would be
It doesn't make sense
cost prohibitive for a dealership to even run ads. So it has to be sort of natural selection, I would say.
So there's some people can run ads, some people can't. And it's just like
depending on like you mean
what
their financial wherewithal?
just what their vertical is, maybe like what they're doing. Is that or is
maybe
there
I
a way to make
misunderstood.
or is there a way for everyone to be able to run ads?
I think it really just comes down to how competitive that vertical is and how much competition they're up against. I'm not trying to turn this into a bash PE firms session, but they are buying up a lot of home services companies, and they are increasing the ceiling on CPCs so that it's making the individual operator, it's making it harder for them to participate because it's an auction. The Google ads, I know we're spending a lot of time talking about Google ads, but we did spend some time talking about organic and LLMs as well and how they all kind of work in synergy, right? I'd say it's hard as a new business owner to rely on, unless they have a referral base already, not running paid ads from launch because organic will take time to proliferate. And if they need the phone to ring, you got to run paid ads.
Yeah.
Our job is to figure out, like, is it going to be Google? Is it going to be ChatGPT has ads now? We haven't talked about Meta too much. Meta traditionally has a lower cost per lead, but because if you think about the way Meta operates, it's not bottom of the funnel, active, I need this. It's more about the ad creative. And if that message resonates with the consumer, oh, I've been thinking about getting my patio redone, and there's a 20% off 4th of July special. That's where Meta and sheer number of eyeballs.
I was talking to that window company.
Yeah.
And I started looking at window company stuff and ads, and then I just got blasted.
You got retargeted after that.
Super hard.
Yep. So you met a specific set of criteria that they had put in place when they set up their ads in terms of targeting. There's certain things that changed over the years. You know Meta. We've talked about it. And you're an Apple. I think you're an Apple guy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm an Android guy. But after iOS 14 came out, which was probably a good 4 or 5 years ago already, they kind of started that cookieless world, right? And then Meta also made changes that you can't be quite as granular in terms of your targeting. Like remember back you could pick their income. Like there's a lot of demographic targeting.
Yeah, when I set mine up, I had so many options in Google. Like I could describe you and it would just target you.
Yeah. Now you can still do interests and, groups you're in and things you follow and where you're physically located. Of course, there's still things they can use to target. And then with this new Andromeda algorithm, apparently the more data it gathers, the better it gets at refining your, like, let's say you were running at your ICP. I'm sure you've heard that term before, your ideal client profile. And so it's all about how good the data is that you're feeding into the funnel. Google and Meta, Reddit, ChatGPT, it's really all about like the data hygiene. On our end, we try to track everything as granularly as possible because garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
If we give it good data, we're more than likely going to get more conversions because we see a particular keyword's working or a particular part of the valley might be converting better than others. And you're literally giving Google, in this case, or Meta, the data it needs to say, hey, you know what? From 2 to 4 p.m. on Friday, water damage near me, there's a $60 click, but we got 15 clicks, but we got 3 calls out of it. And then, it might take 3 estimates for them to close that job, but maybe it's an $8,000 job. I'm just illustrating.
Right, because people come home from work. They're not coming home at 2 in the afternoon. They're coming home at 5 p.m. And then they find their problem, and then they're making calls.
Yeah, your example is probably germane. That probably would be a better time. Or obviously, we hear people go out of town on vacation and they come back and, they get home at 10 p.m. or something like that, or maybe later. Next thing you know, like they had a bathroom overflow and they forgot to turn shut a faucet off before they left, and their ceiling caved in. I mean, there's so crazy.
July 5th, you're running more ads for that as people come back from the holiday.
Now, in a perfect world, I shouldn't say a perfect world, but with all the AI developments that are coming out, and there are already platforms that do this, you can give some of these platforms latitude that maybe historically, based on that time last year, you let it open the floodgates and spend more. Or you talk to our team and say, hey, last 3 years in a row, Memorial Day, we killed it. We ran a sale, blah, blah, blah. Triple the budget, right?
Yeah.
And without getting into a whole rigmarole on that, there are best practices where we're not recommending someone go from like, let's say they're spending $3,000 a month on Google Ads, and first month or two into the campaign we're running for them, it's running well. Well, we understand human nature. They're like, pour gas on that thing, triple it, quadruple it. And we kind of go, hey, time out for a sec. We want the algorithm to learn. Mm-hmm. If you give it too much budget too quick, it may not run lean. It may start increasing the cost per click because it's going, oh, I have more to work with here now. So we're always trying to make sure that we run on the side of lean, right? But if it's a what we call flighted campaign, it's like 2 or 3 days or something like that, and you've got the data that supported this worked last time I did it, yeah, we might just jack up the budget for like 2 or 3 days.
Which is why you
and then evaluate it.
Furniture commercials every Labor Day.
Was this a good decision?
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes we want to bring it back down to earth and go, hey, if you do want to triple your budget over the next like 90 days, let's do it in increments of like 20%. Let's watch how it performs, because I don't mean to sound cynical here, but like we're the ones that get called on the carpet if they're saying, you said to do this, right? So we're always trying to make sure we're providing very clear expectations. Like the best practice is for us to add, 1,000 to your 3,000, run that for 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, it's performing well. Cost per click didn't skyrocket. Conversions actually went up. That's what we want to see. Would you like to go up another 1,000, right? But when people find the golden goose, sometimes they're a month in and they're like, oh, $3,000, spend 9. And there is a human instinct or innate, we all want to be, we're all in business to make money, where you're like, hey, do I want to turn that down? Well, this is what our culture at Agile Media is: do the right thing, not the rich thing, and tell the customer, I want to work with you for a long, long time, and I don't recommend this. And we have literally never had a time where someone said, jerk, why aren't you listening to me? They're like, hey, I appreciate the transparency.
Right.
And that's why we've been, able to grow our business over the years through word of mouth and referral. We are, you and I have had some conversations about this. We are evolving and we're building our company out and, increasing our reach so people that don't know who we are can find us more. But over the years, yes, we've been predominantly, hey, they've done a great job for me. I think you should reach out to them too. And that's because we're being honest with people about.
Yeah. And with evolving, so you've added some more people, another part to the business.
We did. We had a strategic acquisition. Not going to mention the name of the company due to, some very specific relationships they have. But
what is that adding to you?
So the goal was to deepen our bench and broaden our capabilities, give us more infrastructure to, I don't want to say supercharge Agile Media, but I kind of like that word.
I like it.
And so two real, I should say two real levers were the impetus behind this acquisition, which were campaign fulfillment, which I'm not saying we were not fulfilling, but additional team, additional expertise, more institutional knowledge, right? And then additionally, it added a layer of campaign success management. So like a lot of people use the word CSM or customer service manager. We don't use that word customer service because these people do understand strategy, but they're on a day-to-day basis helping make sure that we're being very responsive when our customer has needs, making sure that they're at least a monthly cadence set up so that we can go over the campaign and the reporting, because we don't expect you to understand every single KPI. Sometimes that's more challenging than you'd think. Sometimes our customers are very busy and they'll acknowledge, oh, sorry, I didn't meet with you the last couple months. And then they might find themselves with a question or confused about something and they might be frustrated. So we're continuing to try to figure out what is the optimal cadence and how much do we need to, I want to say bug them, but if you haven't heard back from 2 or 3 emails, I'm very passionate about this, even though I do have a CEO now. Pick up the phone, reach out to them. Hey, we haven't heard from you for 2 or 3 emails. We want to get this monthly campaign success review back on track, right? Because the number one thing we've learned over the years is when people don't think work's being done, if they have any kind of doubt, they feel like they're not getting value exchange. They might be, but in their mind, they're saying, I haven't talked to you, I haven't heard from you, right? We send a report out and a link every month so people can have a real-time dashboard. I cannot tell you how long it took to get adoption for that. And then we had some folks that were saying, I don't have access to any of this stuff. Now, we're not in the business of arguing with our customers, but a lot of times we might have to show them some receipts. Hey, we sent this out, and we actually sent the second one, and we wanted to make sure you had access to it. And so, but we're also not in the business of trying to, make excuses on our side. So that is something that we're continually trying to optimize. Like I said before, not to repeat myself. Hey, what is the amount of touch points via email, 2 or 3, before you're reaching out, right? I'm actually thinking, and we're talking to our team about this. Is it, I emailed you once and I didn't hear from you. I just want to make sure you got this. Things go to spam.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. We don't want we want our customer to feel positive sentiment about the working experience with us. And we don't do it perfectly every time. I'd be the first one to admit it. We've gone through some transformation here. I've stepped out of the day-to-day a little bit more than I used to. I used to be the owner that wore all the hats. And I took a lot of pride in responding back to people quickly, but got a bit exhausted too. And so we are being very selective about, anybody that we bring on board our team, that they match our culture and our service level agreement, SLA. And sometimes we don't get it right.
That's so many 3-letter.
Sometimes we don't get it right. And our goal is just to keep refining the process so that, we bring someone on board and they feel like this was a good decision. I'm getting return on investment. And I would be a advocate for Agile Media. I would be a brand ambassador. I would tell people, yes, this is a good move for my business. I think, again, I'd be fibbing if I said I know exactly what the search landscape looks like with AI, but we know that it's rapidly developing and it's really dynamic. And so we're going to do everything we can to help our customers navigate those changes. And as you mentioned before, whether they're 5 years old, 10 years old, or just started, to be visible, to try to get traction, to try to grow their business, because I still think search is the best bet besides word of mouth. I want to make sure I caveat that. I'm not saying TV doesn't work. I'm not saying billboards don't work. And collectively, you want to build a brand, you want frequency and reach and amplification. But you're starting a company, I still think the number one type of advertising I would recommend is that bottom of the funnel person who needs what you do. It's just getting more complicated into where do you need to be? How many places do you need to be?
There's more work that needs to be done.
How much do I need to invest in this? What kind of return on investment am I going to get and when? And we're going to do everything we possibly can to answer that as honestly as we can. And we need collaboration from our client too. Reviews are huge. You've probably heard that, and I've talked about that in the networking group we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And, if your competitor is getting, 10, 15 reviews a week, let's assume they're authentic, and you're getting 1 or 2 a month, 1 every other month, and Google values that signal. They want to know you're in business. They want to know people are happy with your company. We could be doing everything and executing on everything we say we did in our scope of work that we all agreed upon, and they may have an advantage if they're getting more reviews. And I know some companies are different sizes than others. I'm not saying a $20 million HVAC company isn't going to have more customers than a $1 million a year HVAC company,
Hopefully
but respectively, they need to be doing the work and being engaged as a business owner or a GM or a sales manager, that their team understands the value of them asking the customer for, a positive sentiment online. And, we can get into the whole Yelp thing. I know Yelp's policy is that you're not going to ask for a review, and they do not like when you solicit. And there's some creative ways that you can say, hey, would you mind saying a kind word about us online so other consumers.
Is Yelp really heavy in the results part?
In the review side?
I guess as an LLM's looking, it's like they're going through Yelp and
They
seeing.
have benefited from these shifts in search, most and Google, but they are cited frequently, as is Reddit, because Reddit has a relationship with Google that is monetary. If Google favors you, you'll show up. But for the last couple of years, Yelp has populated pretty well in the results when someone does look for like a contractor near me, for instance. And so we have a Yelp partnership, and it has never blossomed into something massive. I think it's just maybe our client mix. But there are definitely times when we recommend that it's a tactic.
I just forget Yelp even exists.
I'm sure that they'd love hearing that.
Yeah,
if they watch this. But they're a bit of an aggregator, And so if you look for HVAC near me and they show up, third organically and they are still getting traction, there might be 4 companies that pay to be at the top of that Yelp, stack. And then they might go into their regular organic section. And, we may run ads and our customer might be in position 3 or position 2, and they run that for a couple months. And if we track it properly, like I said, we're pretty granular about that. We can at least see, is this an investment worth giving further time to optimize, or are you getting some return on investment here? So it's like, I joke around, it's like vitamins, right? Supplements and vitamins. You can read on WebMD or whatever, and by the time you're done reading, you might be like, well, I have a stomach ache sometimes after I eat, or I have headaches sometimes. And you read, there's like 19 different maladies it could be, right? There's so much overlap, right? And then what do? They'll tell you, you should probably take this supplement for that, and this one, that. You could take 30 things a day and just have a belly full of supplement. You've got to be realistic and say, hey, I'm going to take my multivitamin and my omega and my vitamin D, right? Unless you have cataracts or you have some kind of prescription medication, right? My mom's got some eye problems, so that came to my mind. But so that's how I feel about, I guess, like, if you want to call it the Internet of Things and what an SMB is faced with right now. Can you do every single thing? Maybe if you're Berkshire Hathaway and
you're a huge company and
unlimited funds, but like if someone comes to us and they're a 2-year-old HVAC company and they're going to say, hey, here are our growth goals. By the way, we are very specific. This is something that our new CEO has inculcated into how we go to market probably the last year already. We're going to be aligned on our customers' growth objectives, where I think even in the past, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, it would be more of, this is the stuff you can do. I would recommend this historically, instead of going, what do they want? So we really listen and we put together a prescriptive plan. And what does that consist of? Which platforms? How much are we recommending on Google Ads? How much are we recommend if we do recommend Meta or Yelp? How much time are we going to give organic to populate? Because we're going to tell Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, it's not going to make your phone ring immediately, right? And so our plan is rooted in their success criteria. That's something that we have been very specific about. We've even built some really slick dashboards for our customers that we're trying to automate with prompts, where it can even get down to like the marketing qualified lead. Did it come a sales qualified lead? And literally show it by source attribution in a dashboard, and try to make that part as seamless as possible. It's going to require some collaboration with our client, yes. But if we could literally show this channel, you spent 3,000, you made 12, 4 times ROAS, right? Oh, that's pretty good. Cool. We can even track offline stuff. Your billboard, you broke even. I'm fine with that because it's on the 10 and okay. So,
and the name recognition.
They said like, who's that retail guru back in the day? I think it was Wanamaker, right? He's got this famous quote, 50% of my marketing's working, I think is what it is. 50% isn't. I wish I knew where to spend the money. With digital, I mean, we've got a pretty clear picture on what's working and what's not working. I'm not going to say it's 100%. JavaScript isn't perfect and codes fail and integrations break, but I'd say it's 98, 95. I mean, we should be, if we set up the plumbing, if you will, properly, we're tapped into their CRM. We've got it set up in CallRail. We're tracking their chats and their contact forms. The customer's actually monitoring this, whether it's probably not the owner, but like maybe one of their managers or someone they delegated it to, and they're collaborating with us. We should be able to tell pretty definitively like what's working and what, hey, you might want to pause this, right? Or maybe there's some seasonality to this. Let's resume it next.
And like A/B test, right?
There's a lot of A/B testing in marketing. I'm talking more about like literally which channels are producing the highest return on
investment. You're like A/B testing channels.
Correct.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Right? This channel's not doing as well. Let's move that
outcomes.
One out.
We're in the business of outcomes.
Yeah.
Over the years, every marketing company got caught up in metrics and reports. And are they still important? Yeah. I mean, if you're organic, if you're showing up for 50 keywords organically that are vital to your business and it's going up and to the right, it probably will correlate with you're seeing more phone calls and forums and conversions and things that are going to grow the bottom line. But it's not enough these days with all the data we have to just send that report. And so we're finding that most of our small business owners, we call it a business value realization dashboard. And it's being retooled right now, so it's prettier. It was in kind of an ugly spreadsheet at first, but our CEO is a genius. It's in Excel and built it, and it works. But we're trying to make it look more aesthetically pleasing and automate it, and we're getting very warm reception about this. The only time we maybe get a little bit of pushback is like, how much work is this going to be for me? Which we get it, you know.
For you as the business or for the owner?
The owner operator
The owner,
going,
okay.
oh, I don't know if I want to thumbs up these leads or collaborate with you. Okay. And here's where Agile Media has grown over the years. We might say, we might not be a good fit. We want to know it's working. We're putting a lot of time, energy, investment, resources, besides this strategic acquisition, and dialing this in so it performs for you. We're going to need some collaboration. Sucks to say, hey, we're not going to take you on. And we're not turning down people left and right. I'm not trying to make it seem like that. I don't think we've had a customer yet that didn't say, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is what I needed. This is what I want. What I've been, wondering about. What's working and what's not working. It's a lot of upfront work to get all these CRMs plumbed.
I can imagine.
Because there's different APIs and they have different requirements. That is an area where
if it wasn't easy, we'd all do it ourselves.
But that is an area where AI has helped us. Like we set Claude up. We have a pest control company we're doing this for actively right now. And we actually used to work with them, be candid. And they went with another company that thought the grass was greener. I don't think it is. And so we were talking about a re-engagement, but they said, pump the brakes. If we're going to do that, every company we've talked to, we've asked, can you accomplish this? And so I told the owner and their marketing team, we met with them a couple weeks ago, we will do the work in advance of any type of new engagement, because I think it's a great exercise for our team anyway. And we went over and met with them in person, and they gave us every single thing in what we call their MarTech stack, marketing technology, the CRM they use, the VoIP system they use, the review widget thing they use, the follow-up estimate, like everything to make sure that we can get this thing to talk to one another. That's where Claude was helpful. My team went back and said, hey, it's Fields Route software and it's Ring Central and and it literally scraped the internet to find out, like, how do their APIs work? And how do we connect all these things so that they talk to one another? Does it do it natively, or do we need like a Zapier? I don't know if you've ever heard of Zapier. Yeah, little
automated
zaps.
Yep.
This software, connect them, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, it's $100 a month. Oh, well worth it, right? Doesn't do it natively. We checked. And so we're actually actively doing that right now with this particular customer. And I do feel very confident that we're going to get it to work. We're going to get the plumbing to work, and then we're going to test it. And then we're going to visually show them, hey, let's take you through the digital journey. So someone that may have clicked on a paid ad, called your call rail number, which routes to their VoIP number. It showed up in your dashboard, and then we've got this thing automated into a dashboard that we're building for them. So they can literally see Mr. Alvarez came from this channel, and they can actually see too, hey, we botched that. We gave us a good lead, and we didn't get the termite job, right? And so it could be a great training tool too. There's really not much we can't do now with all the technology we have at our fingertips.
That's awesome.
But the common denominator is almost always it takes really smart people to figure out the strategy and the plan, and then go tell AI, go make this function, right? And then test it on our end to make sure, did it work?
So that's like better than
monitor it. Did it break?
We would go into a little bit of like the AI marketing that, you're competing with. Like Mega AI or something like that is.
Oh, you've heard of Mega? Yeah.
Yeah, I just got an ad for that the other day.
There's tons of software out there. And I would be, again, I know I've probably used this phrase a few times. I would be disingenuous if I told you, don't do that. It's a waste of money. It doesn't work. AI is making rapid advancements. I'm not trying to make myself obsolescent here by saying you don't need an agency. I still stand on that you need a cohesive strategy. What humans are good at is creative thinking, putting that strategy together, knowing your brand, knowing what you're looking to accomplish. And then our job is to deploy both human and AI tools to go make that happen. With Mega AI or some of these other softwares, surprised you saw that one, in 2 years, is it going to be able to do everything, the scenario I just described? It's possible.
I feel like, the owner's going to have to do a lot of the work directing it of what it wants. It still needs to be prompted, right? And if you don't know how to prompt your AI to take you down the road you want to go,
yep,
you're going to struggle.
What you're describing is they want a service. Since mankind, can you change your tire if you got a flat?
I could, yeah.
You could. Do a lot of people do that though?
No.
Do people wash their own dishes?
No.
Leisure time,
Yeah.
appliances. Now we've got everything on our phone. We think we can do it. And then we go, I don't know if I can work on my business and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm counting, our team is counting, that there are still going to be the majority of the population that says, I'm a dentist and I don't want to just get mega AI and then have to check on mega AI and then I don't know if I can be a dentist because I want to grow my dental practice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's always going to exist, but I could be wrong. It can get so advanced in 5 years, maybe people are just like, no, I just need to say I'm a plumber in Queen Creek and then click this button. Mega AI is going to build me a website and a campaign.
Does it build websites?
I don't think so. I'm just saying that they're, Wix,
In the future,
WordPress.
maybe,
There's a lot of technology coming out where you literally can click a button and it's going to say, I think I know what you do. And it's going to go look at, like you said, advantage of AI is it goes across the web, finds competing websites, and it's probably going to juxtapose the content around. What we have seen and what we know is that Google and other search engines can tell if you used AI and didn't edit it and just, excuse my crassness, crapped out the same content. There's only so many positions. So what is going to give someone a competitive advantage if everyone's using the same tools? That's where I think you still need a smart team to put together the right marketing plan.
Right.
Before you just hit that go button. I went to art school many, many years ago, and I think I joked with you about this a couple weeks ago.
You can tell it again.
And it was Photoshop CS. Like they're up to like 18 now or something, right? Isn't that what they're at?
I can't. I don't.
So this is I'm aging
Just
myself. It was like Photoshop CS version 1.0, right?
Yeah.
And we had this teacher, Mr. Pack, if he hears this, and he was kind of like a little bit of a celebrity at our school, Art Institute, because he did the Sopranos season 2 DVD or something like that before Blu-rays. Like, Mr. Pack did, And so we had this one fella in our class, and we got a logo assignment, and he literally jumps on Photoshop and starts using the Wacom tablet, blah, blah. And he like closed the tablet and was all mad. And he's like, I told you to sketch it out, right? It's 20 years ago, but it's still the same premise. And he basically said that if you just jump on the digital tool, it's just going to make crappy art fast. And there's a lot of people that are feeling that way about AI. If you don't program it, prompt it, educate it, guide it properly, it can make junk.
Yeah, I run into that all the time.
We don't want to be in the junk business.
Yeah.
Are we using AI? Pervasively throughout our organization. We've got AI agents that are literally sending me I asked my COO for something, and next thing you know, Bryce and his little agent's like, Mike just sent you this, responded back. Fantastic, as long as there's governance.
Mm-hmm.
And we
there's
still
things I create
govern it
on AI that I need fast, and it doesn't matter if it's good. But I wouldn't want my marketing to be done that way.
Yeah, and I'm trying to give you the most transparent answer I possibly can. Could there be a sea change, right? If that's the right word, of dynamics over the next 3 or 4 years of what someone can do with just a software? Possible. I do know that there's a large percentage of the population that still distrusts AI. Mm-hmm. We've seen enough robot movies over the years, besides Terminator, iRobot. There's a little bit of, and I'm not trying to, plant a seed of distrust. I know that there is still the majority of humans want to connect with the human, right? And so there's always going to be a place for what we do, in my opinion. I think AI has been a wonderful addition to society and life. And I also see some downside, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Yeah, everything in moderation.
Yeah.